the family, because they're going to stay here until school lets out. And the big boss says, yeah, that's satisfactory. And he says, you can go to Cedar City and you'll be on their payroll for as many days as you need. And I told the big boss there, and he says, well, he said, the big boss asked me about you, and I highly recommended you. And so away I went. That was my job, is to upgrade various plants so they could send out better ore. Because we had mines all over the world. Oh, God. Mm-hmm. Some of those places, yuck. Jesus. Anyhow, they sent me to one of the places I got sent was Canada, just over the border from Washington, state of Washington. They had a copper mine there, and the shovel was digging copper right next to within 50 feet of the ocean. And he put it on trucks, and they'd wheel it down there, and they'd empty it farther down into where it could be loaded onto boats. And they told me they'd been getting between 60,000 and 100,000 for each boatload of ore that finally hit Japan. And he says, the boss there says, we can't live with that. He says, it's costing us more than that to operate here. And he says, the big boss back in San Francisco ordered this monkey doodle thing, he says, to upgrade our copper ore. And he says, you're going to help construct it and train all the men? Okay, I'll do that. So I finally got that all done, and just before we went to run, I called the big boss in San Francisco, and I says, it's not going to work. What? He says, we spent $4.5 million for what they sent. What do you mean it ain't going to work? I says, it's going to come out in a slurry. That means it's a third water. And if you're shipping a third water, you can only ship 2/3 copper. I said, you're paying all the freight on that water, and they ain't using it. Oh, my God. So then he got to thinking, he called the company back that designed all this other stuff. Oh yeah, they gave us, sent some more stuff that get rid of the water. Fine. So I got the crew all going, and we worked round the clock, and we finally got enough ore, high grade, to ship to Japan. And so, well, loaded up the boat. These were the same boats that we had before. And from $60,000 to $100,000, the first boatload over there brought in $12.25 million. Guess who was the hero?
It was you.
$12.25 million.
Wow.
The boss called me up one day, and nobody knew what the figure was yet, not even me. He knew. They called him from Japan and told him how much they're going to send. And he told me the next day, he says, don't go to where you're working. He says, come up here to San Francisco. We're having a meeting of all the heads of state for all the mines. God, this place was so jam-packed, you know. And he come out and he says, we got a problem solved, and we want to tell you, all you folks. And God, there must have been 50 or 75 people there. And then he told them, we went from 60,000 to 100,000, all the way to $12.25 million. Man, you should have heard the crowd there. And all of a sudden it started. Can we have Erich next? Hey, no, we want him next. And God, everybody there wanted Erich to come. Jesus and the boss, he just shook his head, and he says, if I'd have known this was going to happen, he says, I wouldn't have been here.
That's a good one.
Oh, God, yes, I was traveling like not South America, Australia. We had 9 mines over there. Mm-hmm. 5 of them were coal, and 4 of them were iron ore. Well, they wanted the same process put in on the coal. 5 mines at once. Hell, I could do that. I could do it with glasses, and water and chemical and upgrade the coal. Because the coal over there is funny. It's a semi-coking coal. It's what they need in the big blast furnaces to melt steel. You can't use ordinary coal. All that does is make electricity or heat a home. But God, and putting through this process, hell, we got coking coal, and that brings a premium. Japan wanted it all. Australia, everything they mined in Japan went to Australia, went to Japan from Australia. God. But